What would shift in your life if you fully owned your choices, your energy, and understood how that created your reality? I want to talk to you today about radical responsibility, what it means, why it's a game changer on your spiritual journey. About a year ago, with all the work I've done for as many years as I've been on this path, it's been many, I had that proverbial aha moment where I realized that I wasn't totally owning and taking responsibility for who I was, how I was reacting and responding, how I was choosing my words and my energy. And I really became very, very aware of stories in my head that were holding me back and that weren't true. But until I actually took responsibility, they were still there. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, how you can take radical responsibility in your life and see what changes. So join me. So, what is radical responsibility? Hi, I'm Lori Ingram. I'm a spiritual director, certified in many different modalities of energy and spirituality and also mindset work. So, radical responsibility is the deep understanding that we are creators of our experiences, our thoughts, our energy, our actions shape our reality. So I'm not talking about blaming or shaming. And I think that's really important because when I first started to do this kind of work and really started to go into taking responsibility for my own life, um, I did end up in a place of blaming myself and even a bit of shame for like, why couldn't I figure this out before? And why is it taking me so long? Right. So there's a lot of blame and shame mixed up in that. And that is not what this is about at all. It's not about blaming ourselves, not even really about blaming others. It's not about shaming ourselves either. But what it is about is empowerment. It's about it, empowering ourselves to acknowledge and own our role in our experiences and to radically choose our response moving forward. And I say radical because sometimes you just have to make that leap, right? You have that hard conversation with yourself and you're like, yes, I am ready to do this. Okay. So often our external reality could really just be a reflection on what's happening in ourselves. Have you ever heard the term, you know, what you focus on, you see more of? So if I said to you, don't think of a yellow car, well, you're going to think of a yellow car, right? Or if you had a situation where maybe you were looking for a new car and suddenly that's all you see because it's in your consciousness, right? You've brought your awareness to that. And because you've told your consciousness, I'm looking for this car and I want to buy, a Jeep, then your consciousness is going to start looking for it. It's like, there's a Jeep, there's a Jeep, there's a Jeep. Likewise, likewise. As someone who's a business person and a practitioner, I am always looking for new opportunities to serve, collaborations and partnerships. And when I move myself into that place, my consciousness is going to be aware of that. It's going to say, hey, here's an opportunity. Here's a person you should connect with. Here's a new creative idea for you. On the other hand, if I blame or say, well, I don't get traction on social media because of the algorithm, well, yeah, there might be some truth to that. But however, if I shift it and say, well, how am I taking responsibility for how I'm showing up? Right? And am I on the right platform? This is where my clients even are, potential clients even are, right? If I shift it back to how can I take responsibility, totally changes the perspective. Okay. But this is really hard. And this is really hard. And want to admit that, right? Because our ego doesn't like change. Our mind is always trying to protect us by keeping us safe, keeping us in places that we're used to, doesn't want us danger, no danger, right? So that's why this kind of thing is really hard. Those old stories we hold on to, even if they're not the best for us, there's still a place of safety in so many ways for us. Think back to your childhood, right? So much of this is rooted in how we were raised and the stories, we were told. And granted, I do believe that at any point in time, anybody's only acting from wherever they are from a level of consciousness at that moment. So I do take the high, I do believe that everyone is doing the best they can in the moment. In retrospect, obviously, we always think like, oh, why wasn't it different? But you know what? It wasn't, right? So our childhood conditioning, the expectations of society, trauma, all play a role in helping us break through that barrier or stopping us from breaking through that barrier of taking responsibility fully. Things like fear, guilt, doubt can surface when we'd say, you know what, I'm going to own this now. I'm going to be empowered and own this. And so I challenge you when that happens to consider it a sign of growth and not failure. Again, when you find yourself meeting resistance because you're afraid, because you doubt yourself or your capabilities, whatever it might be, consider that a sign of growth, that you are that pushing that growing edge, right? So, and I have lots of stories in my life with this. I had a long career in corporate, then I shifted to something very, very different than what I was doing and what I had spent over 40 years doing. And there were a few years when I started, and I started part-time while I was still working full-time. There were many times where I thought, oh, I can't do this. Maybe I should just stay in my safe little world of IT and corporate. Um, Even though in my heart, I knew the work I was pushing into was really my calling at the time. But there were moments, the more I held back, the harder it became to hold back because my spirit was saying, you're supposed to be on a different path. It's time, right? So there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of maybe even a bit of shame. It was very different lifestyle than what I had had, than what I was told I should have as a young adult. And there was a lot of doubt that I could make such a shift. So owning that responsibility, and really about a year ago, realizing that I still hadn't totally owned it, made a huge difference and has shifted in many ways. Not only the work I do, but how I show up for myself and for my clients. So that's why I really want to take a few moments and offer you a place to start with taking some radical responsibility for your life. First and foremost, it always starts with awareness, that observation of what might be triggering me and asking that question of kind of what's happening here that's triggering me in this moment. What is it activating in me? I love that word rather than trigger as activation. What is this situation or this social media post or this something that somebody said to me? What is that activating in me? Right? Where is it coming from? What pattern is it triggering? Because everything is usually a pattern in there. And am I taking responsibility or am I feeling like I'm a victim? Because here's the thing, and this is a radical thing to consider, but nobody's coming to save us, and in the political world, and I'm recording this in February of 2025. It's a bit chaotic. But the reality is the knight on the white horse is not coming over the hill to save us. We have to take responsibility. We have to feel empowered. And so when we have those moments where we feel where we're giving our power away to an old story, to something that someone else has said to us, it's that time to pause, interrupt it, acknowledge it, and question and reflect. Okay, that's number one. Second, find tools to align, to clear and align your energy. And there's lots of tools out there. There's many that I work in. I work with crystal dreaming, meditation, a little bit of breath work, subconscious work, right? Work that we can do to shift our limiting beliefs, to identify them, to move stuck energy, Reiki, crystals. These are all the things that I work with. And I do have some videos here on my, and I'll link one here. I'm bringing back your energy too. So I think that's a really good one to start with. And then it's working from a place of conscious action, conscious choice, deciding what you need to change and how you need to shift, and then taking action, right? Just sitting and thinking about it until you take action, things won't truly change. And this could be something like, I need to set boundaries. I need to get off social media for, I need to limit my social media time, right? Because that influences me, may upset me, right? May send me in a tailspin. And maybe setting boundaries with friends and family members. It may mean that I'm going to take the responsibility and do this work. Here's the thing, people like me and coaches, we don't fix people. I do not fix people. What we do is create safety and space and processes for you to tap into the power that you have yourself, to heal yourself. And I know, because I was guilty of this at one point. When I would go to somebody years ago, I would think, fix me, in the back of my mind, even though I wouldn't say fix me, there was this sense of, I have to go to this person because I need to be fixed. They need to fix me. But it's really switching that up and saying, I need to find the practitioners, the people in my lives, the communities that create the space to help me connect with that which I already have inside of me, that power. So consider what one shift you can make today that might align with your desire. Maybe it's uncovering that desire, but taking ownership is so important. So remember, radical responsibility. This is not at all about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about being aligned with right action. It's about reclaiming our energy, taking the story of our lives up to this point and rewriting the next chapter, right? Stepping into full sovereignty. So I'd love to know, where are you taking radical responsibility in your life? And if you're ready to dive deeper, I have some other videos here. I would love to chat with you about my different programs. You can schedule a call with me and I can talk more about what I do and how I hold space for people. So just remember that you are more powerful than you probably realize, and your life is your creation. So until next time, thank you.